Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Yona of the Dawn, chapter 219. When we last left our heroes, Judo had come to what was left of Keen province to sort of help out with the rebuilding, and also I think to be that sort of first line of defense against the South Kai army. He has some fun banter with Gunte, and then the entirety of the South Kai army arrives. And they're not even the entirety, just a huge chunk of it, far larger than anything Kouka can really muster. And so to buy time, hopefully for his troops to escape, Judo goes to challenge the general Kura-U to a one-on-one duel. And Kura-U makes claims that he's going to follow through with the duel, but he actually just starts catapulting rocks at Judo, and also a contingent of Sky Tribe troops who refuse to abandon him. There's some good drama going on with Judo all through last chapter. Both with that and his sort of feeling, his inferiority complex towards Hak, we see a little bit of there. Anyway, the boulder is stopped by Jeha as the dragons and the entire Kouka army have arrived to defend Keen province. And that's kind of where we leave off. We also do check in on Hak, who hears the war horn and wants to go join the fight, but Sonon and Ron won't let him because they're sort of trying to make sure he doesn't die. And yeah, that's where we left off. So let's dive right on into chapter 219, Human Weapon. And our picture here is of Hak in, I think those are the same clothes that Sonon gave him, but kind of dirtied, fishing around for something. I think he's fishing over the Senjutsu, because we open with Ron holding up a bag. I found it. And Hak corrects him, nope, the one I'm looking for is smaller. And Hak stands up and is looking around. Was it really washed away by the flood? If that's the case, there's no way I can find it. 1 foot outside the village is the battlefield. Suwon will probably come as well. I wonder if the princess is at the castle. And what about the dragons in Yoon? Okay, so he's really right outside the battlefield, which would make sense why he heard the horns last chapter. I think on some level I had maybe interpreted that as a sort of what's the right word? Not psychic sort of thing, but a spiritual, hearing the horns in a spiritual way or something. But no, he's literally, the battle is right outside. But he is kind of behind enemy lines right now, and if he goes out, he'll be caught by the Kai guys. However, he seems to... Another note is that he doesn't quite expect Yona to be here, which is interesting. Anyway, someone pulls on his robe, and it's Sonon who drags him back down. Bend down, please. They'll find you. But Hak tries to protest, but there shouldn't be any problem. There's not a single soul here. But Sonon tells them, almost all the men of the village were sent to war. You're standing out. And Hak sort of responds, well, sorry about that. And then they hear this, ouch! And Sonon notes it right away. Ron? Okay. And we see he's found a bag. And someone says, oh, well, this is a problem. And we see a man with kind of short, kind of cropped hair who's picked up Ron. I'm not sure if Ron accidentally ran out to the battlefield or if this guy is on Sonon's property right now. Given how close the battlefield is, either is possible. But he's picked up Ron. What an ill-mannered child. Some of his soldiers call to him, what can we do to assist you, General Kaji? And Kaji turns to them. Don't follow me like that all at once. Don't break the ranks and go ahead. And then... okay, so I think this is Ron's line, though I can't quite tell, about the bag that Kaji is holding. Let me see that. And Kaji just, firmly declines, no. And then I'm guessing this is Sonon who calls out, Ron! So they are in the village, but they're not really on Sonon's property. Anyway, Kaji turns to her. You're the mother? This boy tried to steal my belonging, but... Oh, he saw the bag and thought that was the Senjutsu bag. Okay. And Sonon just apologizes. We're sorry. And Kaji goes on. In the capital, stealing would get his fingers cut off. And Sonon goes on. Please forgive us. I will take all the blame. And Kaji responds, that's right. I hate people, but using a blade against a kid leaves a bad taste in my mouth. This kind of thing is the parent's responsibility, so the mom will do. It's unpleasant, right? But that's why, so you won't do this again. Watch closely. And he draws his blade and slashes at her, seemingly to take her fingers off, but I'm guessing that he's going to do something else. Oh no, he is going to take her fingers off, but someone plays his hand maybe a little bit too early, because Hak just catches the blade between his fingers. And that's just a real fucking cool panel right there. Shocking Kaji, and he's just sort of stunned. What? Who? So sturdy. Where did you come from? And Hak just sort of, doesn't even show his face to apologize. Pardon my intrusion. This kid was only helping me search for something of mine. Kaji looks at him. Something of yours? I lost a white drawstring pouch. I don't want to be rude, but this pouch. Where did you get your hands on it? And Hak is sort of... it is the same size as the Senjutsu pouch. I found it in the graveyard over there. There is a curious plant inside. And yes, Kaji just happens to have found the Senjutsu pouch. Though, given that Kaji kind of distinctly sees it as his own property, to the point he was willing to cut off Sonon's fingers for it, I'm curious how Hak, as, a leader of an enemy, or a general figure of an enemy nation, how exactly Hak is going to get away with getting that pouch back. Anyway, Hak thinks, gotcha. And Kaji continues, I don't really care what happens to the people, but it would be a shame if plants were trampled on. So, okay, so we're seeing, I didn't quite call this out earlier, his line about, I hate people, but using a blade against a kid leaves a bad taste in my mouth. He's just kind of a misanthrope. He just, almost comically hates other people, which, okay, that's a thing, I guess. And Hak is not really on board with that way of thinking, that bothers me a bit, but thanks. And Kaji looks at it. It's yours? And Hak tells him yes. But you don't have any proof of that. And Kaji just sort of continues on. I found it, so it's mine now. And Hak pushes back with the same damn argument he used on Sonon. You would have your fingers cut off if this were the capital. And Kaji just sort of glares at him, I'm guessing not realizing him to be Hak. Or any kind of Kouka figure at all. That's enough. And he drops Ron on the ground. I won't charge this child for his sin. But you, turning to Hak, no matter how I look at you, you seem to be a soldier with a body like that. What about the war? Why are you here? Are you a deserter? And Sonon goes right back into kind of defending Hak mode. My husband is injured and is in recovery. And Kaji just slashes his sword and Hak on instinct jumps away. And glares at him. He's good, right? If he can move like that. Go back to your troop. And Hak, I'm not sure if Hak has any idea how he's gonna defend himself against these accusations. Just lets out a, huh? And Kaji goes on, don't haunt me. We're going to fight here soon. You're not just going to support us from the sidelines. Who's your general? And Hak just answers, General Ra'an, as the narration tells us that Ra'an is the only one he knows. So that's not quite quick thinking on Hak's part, but it is better than not thinking. Anyway, Kaji just thinks, General Ra'an, during the flooding, you received a severe injury from an infantryman of Kouka. I love the narrator pointing, or the little blurb pointing at Hak, the infantryman of Kouka. And for a minute, it seemed like he was done for, didn't he? Because of that, General Ra'an's arrival is delayed. But we don't have the luxury to wait, so I'll let you join my unit. If you refuse, you'll be considered a deserter. Okay, so all of Hak's kind of attempts to sort of deflect Kaji's request for him to join the front line are sort of getting bounced back. He's at some point going to have to have to fight back against Kaji Or, like, go undercover in the Kai army, I guess? Anyway, Kaji goes on, all deserters will get decapitated, along with their family. You understand the situation you're in, right? And we sort of leave them there, as Hak sort of, acknowledges Kaji's threat. And then we cut back to Judo and the Kai army making their, or specifically Kouka, specifically the Sky Tribe army making their charge against Kai. Judo calls, center! Soldiers of the Sky Tribe, advance! And one of Kura-U's lieutenants, I guess, turns to him. Kouka's army is coming. And Kura-U tells him, let them draw close. Our aim is their center. Loose! And they fire another boulder. Lands right between a couple of cavalrymen. And Judo's just frustrated. Frustrated. My formation is falling apart. And our friendly neighborhood, Kija, calls in the background, hey, Judo, keep your head down. And as they throw another boulder at him, Kija just catches it in his claw, and just roars, Grah! And flings it back, or flings it into the air. Take that! And J-Hot jumps up and kicks it right down at the Kai armies. Kija turns to Judo, leave that catapult to us. And Judo starts taken aback. Alright. And thinks, it's heartening. I can put all my focus on what I have to do. Though I want to call attention with that line back to what we saw back in 217. When Yona told Suwon and Kaisuk that she was planning on ending the alliance after the war. And, we're seeing more and more, all throughout sort of the build up to the war, and even now as the war is really fully beginning, Kouka started to really rely on the dragons. Not, both militarily and sort of symbolically. They've become, Yona and her cohort have become the symbols of Kouka. And that's, given that Kaisuk in particular is not very much a fan of Yona, I can see that becoming a problem as things go on. I almost see, whatever happens after the war, the next arc is sort of being Kaisuk trying to find a way to, trap Yona at the castle. Because she's become this symbol of the monarchy. And as she starts to depart from the monarchy, that could do major damage to Suwon politically. Anyway, back with Kaisuk. We see Kaisuk and Suwon who are commenting on all this. Kaisuk asks, they didn't imagine the catapult could become a double-edged sword, did they? And Suwon responds, they're focusing on the two dragons. Meanwhile, the Fire Tribe and the Wind Tribe armies are flanking the enemy. And we see Taejun and the Wind Tribe general whose name is Jinsu, I think? I know I've had this confusion before, repeatedly. Taewoo. That's his name. I'm not stupid. Anyway, Kura-U just watches. So these are the four dragons? They're really just like human weapons, huh? Which is our chapter title. I'm curious how exactly that'll end up. But how that phrase will be important enough to, be worth the chapter title. Anyway, one of his soldiers tells him, General Kura-U, this is bad. We will turn back and remove the catapult. And Kura-U, almost laughing, responds, are you kidding me? I brought it all the way here. And he thinks, and then tells the soldier, then we will throw them. And the soldier asks, throw what? We have human weapons on our side, too. Okay. I'm curious what that means, because my first thought, though I don't think this quite works, is what the delegates tried to argue back during that that meeting, the initial meeting that kickstarted this whole war, that Kai had a claim to the dragons. And maybe this human weapon they have is tied in with that somehow. Maybe there is a Kai equivalent of the dragons that wouldn't quite match what the emissary said. But I don't know. Anyway, we see Yona, who's just not looking great for some reason. Someone calls her Yona. Oh, it's a Shina. What's wrong? And Yona just tells him, I have a bad feeling about this. Kija and Jeha. And Suwon sort of looks back and acknowledging Yona's bad feeling, and then Zeno and Shina just ride off, leaving Yona to call, wait, Zeno! Shina! And then we cut back to Jeha and Kija. As Jeha asks, still hanging in there, Kija? And Kija, who's a little exhausted, but not doing too bad, just responds, of course. And Jeha just sort of looks around. I can't take much more of these missiles. And Kija sort of responds with, you're boot in this state. Yep, I'll make sure General Judo buys me new ones. And then they see the catapult, something flings off from it. Hey, here comes another one. And then as Judo goes to jump up, he sees it's a person. You know, the human weapon that Kura-U was talking about. He reacts, a person. Whoa, I can't kick him. Okay, is that like he physically can't, or like is there some sort of like shield guarding this guy, or is it like he can't find a good angle to kick him back towards the troops because he's not really a rock, he's a person, and the center and like the way you would kick a person is different than a rock or something. I don't know, but he just sort of falls right into Kija's hands. Maybe he's gonna, like, block Kija or something. I don't know. Like, Kija with his hands full or something. Anyway, Kija looks down. Humans launch into the air? Jeha, he's still alive! Soldiers of the Earth Tribe. Oh, it's hostages. They're human weapons. Not in the sense the dragons are. But they're just throwing people at them. I mean, I see how that can be bad for the captives, but I'm not sure that that's going to do that much damage, or it would do morale damage to the army. It'll certainly do that much. Anyway, Kija asks him, are you all right? And the prisoner tells him, captives from Keen Province are in the catapult. What? And yeah, we see the catapult just fires, you know, a whole bunch of prisoners raining down over the army. And they are smacking into Kouka soldiers, knocking them off their horses. Kija calls out, they're using the people of Kouka as missiles. And Suwon is, you know, not feeling that. Yona's just stunned in absolute panic. And Kura-U sort of monologues, this is nothing to be shocked about. This is how Yuhan had fun in Jing back in the day. Except it was just heads flying in the air. Oh, that's an interesting little comparison to make. Because yeah, that was like, wasn't that the specific like injustice that drew Shing to be so anti-Suwon? Was not just that Yuhan was this sort of conqueror figure, but that he had like the indignity of chopping off the heads and then catapulting them back into the country, right? It's been a long, long time since I read Shing. But I think I have most of that right. But yeah, that sort of, you know, brings the question back. How is, you know, it's horrible, of course. Yona is horrified by it, but is not that different than what Yuhan was doing. And given that we have that focus on Suwon, you know, we see Kija who's telling us what's happening. Then the first person we see react is Suwon. I'm curious how Suwon is taking this because, you know, that is kind of his father's tactic. A little bit different, of course, but still. Anyway, they're still alive. If you don't catch them, they'll die. And Jeha does manage to catch one, but he goes falling into the ground. The weight is kind of, you know, he's not taking them back. He's trying to carry this guy. And so he falls to the ground. Jeha! And then another one, I think, just hits Kija on the head. And he falls. His horse has fallen. He's on the ground. The guy who hit him is probably dead. Jeha coughs up some blood. They use people like they're tools. That's why I hate war. And Jeha sort of wipes up the blood, and Kija also picks himself back up. And the two of them go bounding into the enemy camp. Yona watches. Jeha and Kija are heading into enemy ranks. They're going to destroy the Catapults. Even on the battlefield, they won't let go of their humanity. Continues in issue 5, February 4th. Okay. So there's a whole lot to like in this chapter. I'm going to talk about the back half first, because I think there's a good bit more to talk about there. And I do hope we do spend, I hope that quick mention of Yuhan did this in Jing isn't like the only mention we get of that incident. Because, that is certainly something interesting for Suwon to deal with. I mean, it's not like, I'm trying to find the right way to phrase this. I'm trying to not go full evil. Like, I imagine if Evil Twin were scanlating this, they'd have a whole, extra page between 22 and 23 about, Yuhan was a total fucking bastard, and Suwon should feel like shit for being related to him. Because that was what Evil Twin, and I'm not going full Evil Twin here. Because heaven forfend I ever do that. But, it is something worth noting that Suwon is sort of being attacked by an echo of what his father did. And I do want to spend a little bit more time on Suwon's reactions to that. I imagine by the end of next chapter, Jeha and Kija will have either fully destroyed the catapult, or we'll be at a point where we're not really where the catapult is just like, maybe the two of them get into like a 2-on-1 fight with Kura-U or something in an attempt to destroy the catapult. I don't think this catapult plotline is going to last much longer, is my point. But I do hope before it's over, we get some sort of response from Suwon. As this is kind of a karmic punishment for him. His army is suffering the same way his father made other armies suffer. Which, there's some interesting work to put in there if the writing, if Mizunagi wants to. Right, Mizunagi is the author's name, I think. Let me double check. Kusanagi, Mizuho. Got the first two syllables of her given name mixed up. That's my bad. Anyway, my point being, there is some, how do I put this? There's some definite room to sort of explore that next chapter. How this all relates to Suwon. But anyway, that's really all I have to say for the second half. Beyond what I kind of mentioned earlier about just how important the dragons are becoming to Kouka, and how bad it was going to be for the Suwon faction if Yona separates from them. And so, again, I definitely think Kaisok is going to do something to sort of scheme against, sort of try to trap Yona in the castle. Anyway, we also have this stuff with Hak, and there's some real cool shit here. It starts out fun enough, we're introduced to another one of the 8 generals, so I think we've met 5 of them? I think we've met Kura-U and Meinyan and Val and Ra'an and Haitan. I think it was the other guy with Val. So Kaji, I think, is the 6th, actually, because it's Meinyan, Val, Haitan, Ra'an, Kura-U, and Val, and Kaji. So yeah, this is our 6 of the 8 generals. There's still 2 more we have not met yet. And he definitely kind of feels the most gimmicky, I'll say. The way he just keeps on muttering, I hate people usually blading as a kid leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I don't really care what happens to the people, but it'd be a shame if plants were trampled on. That's like in the span of 2 pages, one of which has like no dialogue on it. He's mentioned this whole I hate people thing twice. It's, there's still room for him to become a fully fleshed out character, but so far, he's definitely the most gimmicky. And also, given that I don't expect Kaji to really make it out of this fight, make it out of this village, not alive, but at least no longer able to fight. I expect Kaji's role in the story to kind of end with Hak whooping his ass. And so I don't think Kaji I don't think is going to become a super realized character, though I could be proven wrong, I suppose. But there is plenty of cool shit here. I love Hak stopping the blade. It's just a real cool bit. The way he sort of tries to pull Kaji's own arguments against him to get the Senjutsu back. And, Hak is now sort of stuck between a rock and a hard place. The only option he really has is to try to fight Kaji. And I forget, are Kaji's soldiers still in town? Because if so, Hak is... I mean, he's the fucking Thunder Beast. He can do something. But he is sort of vastly outnumbered right now. And I'm curious how exactly he's going to handle this. And I hope we get more of this next time. Because I love me some Hak. He's super cool. But also, I think next time will largely be focused on this Catapult plotline. But anyway, I'm excited to see how all of this goes anyway, because there's just so much good shit going on here, and I want to see this get explored. See the more moral quandaries get explored, and also just see some good kick-ass battles going on. Both with the Hak and Kaji, and with Jeha and Kija and Kura-U. Plenty of fun stuff on the horizon, and I want to see how all this plays out. Unfortunately, it's a whole month away, but... it'll be here before you know it. So I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope you'll enjoy the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe or, do whatever makes you happy, And as always, your life is your own, okay? Bye!